Leadership Roundtable. My name is Bonnie Bowser, and I'm the Nominations and Elections Committee Chairman. And I would like to thank you for taking the time out to join our forum to hear about the leadership and how you can be of some assistance and support of our leadership. I'm asking, is Dr. Allen on? Does anyone see Dr. Allen in the?
Yeah, I'm
Here
here.
she is.
She's here.
There she is. Welcome, Dr. Allen.
Thank you.
We appreciate you taking the time out to give us some words of wisdom about leadership. And we turn it over to you to give you about 5 minutes. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm on the campus of Westchester State, so I'm in the middle of a function. So hopefully I can give you something coherent before I have to go back in, because I'm about to have to go on the microphone there. So good evening, and good to see you all. It's getting close to homecoming, so I know I'll see many of you in just a couple of weeks or so. But want to thank you for the invitation, and first want to say that it's great that you have a forum where we're introducing our alumni to the need for leaders to run our organizations, how important it is to step up to leadership. I know that in the last couple of years in working with the AALU and some of the other chairs, it's been really hard to get people interested in running for leadership positions. And so to see so many people on this call today says that maybe you all are turning the corner and we have more people who are interested. And so, there's, I don't think enough can be said about the importance of leadership. We can always have a plan, we can always have some goals, but if we don't have people who are willing to step up and try to make sure that those things happen, they just become plans and goals. And so leadership is really about taking ideas and moving those ideas along to implementation, and then moving those along to completion. And that doesn't mean that the leader is the person who is doing all the moving. The leader is the person who can really bring the people together to do all the things that are needed to move that agenda along. And so as we think about why leaders are important, sometimes we think that it is really about that person and what that person, who that person is, and what they seem to embody as an individual. And I think as you all think about looking for leadership, and we all think about wanting to enter into leadership, I think the first question we ask ourselves has to be is, how good am I at moving people? Because basically you can have the best individual who has the greatest ideas and have an amazing vision, but if you can't coalesce people around that in order to incite action, then you just become a really nice leader, but you don't have any results. And so leadership is really about persuasion. It's about direction. It's about, being able to be a cheerleader when things don't look as if it's going the way you want it to. Leadership can be lonely sometimes, right? Because you don't always have the group around you that can help you to really think through how to get to the next step. But leadership can also be very satisfying when you can step back and not only see that you've gone from an idea to an actual implementation of something, when you can look at that and you can embrace a team of people who you were able to keep moving towards the goal, there's a level of self-satisfaction, I think, that you also get from that. And so while it requires a lot of an individual to be able to move a bunch of people along, and that most things that leadership helps us to achieve ends up being something that is the result of teamwork. The leader is the person who was able to make that teamwork happen. And for that reason, I think there are times in which a person can feel that kind of individual satisfaction from being able to move people towards that goal. So hopefully that makes sense. You know, they said talk about leadership, and I'm like, yeah, it's important. It's about moving people. It's about having vision. All of those things matter, but I think what really matters is when you can bring vision together with the ability to bring folks together with the ability to actually achieve a goal. That's when you know that you've had impact. And so there are committees on here. I know that Bonnie, you know, your biggest goal as the chair of the nomination committee is to get yourself a slate, right? And how much work does that take to be able to move your committee along, as well as then get people engaged in that? And, you know, for you, Sharice, you have done a great job in your time, just really pulling us to a place where we are focused, where I think the AALU has the kind of agenda and presence within the governance structure of the university where what you do is perceived to matter. And I think that's what leadership and good leadership can do. It can actually seal your place in recognition of your place in the larger ecosystem of what you're trying to do. And the only way to do that is to have great leaders who know how to bring other people along towards elevating the perception of the group on top of getting things done. So
Thank you,
I say
Dr.
good
Allen.
luck.
Thank you so
Take
much
it
for
off.
coming on, Dr. Allen. We appreciate you. We love you. And get back to your business.
All right, about to go ahead and talk on the mic. See you
All
all
right.
soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So as Dr. Allen said, we're here to talk about leadership and how we can develop ourselves in moving our agenda forward. At this time, I will turn it over to Kim Blaney.
Good evening, everyone. I have to make sure that I'm on. First, I'd like to introduce the alumni trustee, Dr. Tiffany Harrison, class of 2008. Unfortunately, Dr. Harrison couldn't make it this evening, but we have a video in the chat which describes how she leads and also the duties of the Board of Trustees.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tiffany Harrison, an alumni trustee on the Board of Trustees at Lincoln University. The board plays a vital role in shaping Lincoln's future through governance, financial oversight, and strategic planning. We approve policies, monitor the university's financial health, and select and evaluate leadership, including the university president. We also focus on long-term strategies for academics, facilities, and fundraising while ensuring ethical and legal compliance. Each trustee serves on at least one committee, but most of us serve on multiple committees, such as audit, buildings and property, business affairs, educational policy and academic affairs, evaluation, investment, marketing and communication, planning and development for external affairs, student affairs, trustees, degrees, and nominations. Each committee chair also serves on an executive committee, ensuring continuity across all areas of the board's work. We're currently looking for individuals with a passion for Lincoln's mission, someone who holds strategic vision, financial expertise, fundraising and advocacy skills, strong communication and collaboration, integrity, and accountability. The board's decisions directly impact the lives of students, faculty, and the entire university, and also help to preserve Lincoln's legacy as the first HBCU in our nation. If you're committed to helping shape Lincoln's future, we invite you to join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison. Next, I would like to introduce President Sharice Carney Nunez, class of 88, and she will discuss her duties as the president of AALU PA.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharice Carney Nunez. I am the president of the AALU. I wanted to just take a minute to introduce myself, and you can see the duties and in all the information that was shared, the duties of the president are there. I wanted to just take a minute to explain the importance. And I think Dr. Allen really said it well, but I took this role because I want to say I ran for office, but honestly, when I ran, it was uncontested. So I took this office because I felt like it was extremely important for Lincoln to have a credible, competent, partner in the alumni. And it was just extremely important for an alum to really step up, that was willing to devote the time to build and sustain the Alumni Association. So in this role as president, you definitely do need to put the time in. I will say it has been somewhat of a commitment, but you really can have an impact. It's really an important role. You are convening not only all of the committees of the AALU, but we have like about 13 active chapters. So you're working across the alumni, across the nation, and really just being the voice of the alumni, and also partnering when the university needs anything. So you really can have a really major impact. And the other thing I will say, I don't want to stop without saying the benefits of leadership. I have gotten so many great experiences serving in this role. Even when I served as the chapter president, I used to be the president of the DC alumni chapter, DC MAC. And when I was applying, so I was a physics major, and then I went on to law school, and now I work for the federal government. I'm a senior executive in the federal government. When I was applying and I was on my leadership journey at work, I had to make a case for my leadership at work. And I was able to use so many examples of things that, issues and leadership stories that I addressed here in the Alumni Association. And it actually mattered because leadership is leadership, whether you're doing it at work, whether you're doing it in a AALU chapter or a sorority or fraternity, or in the national AALU, or as an alumni trustee. And so I'll end by focusing on the important leadership competencies, the way I see it, which I take from my job, which is knowing how to lead change, knowing how to lead people, knowing how to be results driven and push results through, having business acumen, and also knowing how to reach across and build coalitions. So those are the leadership competencies that I'm committed to bringing, like I said, not only at work, but here in the Alumni Association. And I just really hope that you all spread the word and really just reflect about the benefits and possibilities of stepping up as an alumni leader. Thank you.
Thank you, President Carney Nunez. Next, we will have the Vice President of the Alumni Association, Camille Claiborne, class of 2009. And these are the duties of Vice President.
Okay, hello alumni. So my name is Camille Claiborne, class of 2009. And I just want to first say that it has been a joy to serve as vice president. And Sharice has done an awesome job, and it has been just a joy to work underneath her as vice president. So when I became vice president, I transitioned from being secretary in the Philadelphia chapter. And so this was my way to continue to serve Lincoln University. And What I can say is serving as vice president, of course, you have to be ready to step in when the president is unavailable. And it is really a commitment of your time and a giving of your talents serving on committees. And but I think that it is very rewarding getting to work with other alumni and raising money for our university. So it has been a joy to serve as vice president, and I hope that someone else will step in and do an even better job than I did.
Thank you, Vice President Claiborne. Next, we will have former Treasurer Rita McCaskill, class of 91, and we will read the duties of the treasurer, and she will describe her duties.
Well, good evening, fellow alumni. My name is Rita McCaskill. I'm the class of 1991. I've actually been involved with the Alumni Association since about 2018. 2019, I became the treasurer, and I held that position for 4 years. I actually stayed in the role long enough because we were in the rebuilding stage when Dawn Florizard was leaving office and Sharice Carney Nunez was coming in. So in order to bridge the gap between the two administrations, I chose to stay on board so that way we would have continuity within the organization. As the treasurer, I have to admit it was a little challenging in the beginning, but I think we've worked out the kinks to the point where people should be fighting to take over this role. Now, I must admit, I'm not going to leave. I'm still going to be around to help out whomever wants to apply for this position, because it's actually become fun for me over time. Because with us having a treasurer, we do have a treasurer on board, but he unfortunately was not available this evening. So that's why I'm speaking for the role on his behalf. However, I have enjoyed meeting a lot of alumni. And I must admit, my civilian job actually helped prepare me for the treasurer role. In my civilian capacity, I am a budget formulation analyst for Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, which has direct oversight over the IRS. I've been there for 7 years, but for 17 years before that, I worked for Headquarters Department of Army, in the Pentagon. So, yes, I do have a wealth of experience, but one thing I must say that anyone who wants to come into this role, number one, you have to be able to be bonded. 2, you also have to know and understand the inner workings of the association and the different projects that we have and what we can and cannot actually fund. In addition to that, you also need to be able to say no. Sometimes we have to say no because given that we are a 501c3 organization, there are some things that we just cannot fund. And it's okay if you're not sure. Most of us weren't sure when we first walked into the positions. But one thing I can say is you won't do this alone. It's something I've always told my fellow soldiers. I'm also a veteran, 22-year veteran of the Army Reserve. There is no leadership job where anyone walks into without support of the rest of the team. And I want to say whomever steps up to come to be the treasurer, I look forward to working with you because I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next, we will have Executive Secretary Marian Terrain, class of 90, and she will discuss the office of the Executive Secretary.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Miriam Terrain. I'm the class of 1990, and I come by this role of secretary through, actually, I served as the secretary in the DC MAC chapter when we first kind of got that started again. And I continued to serve and moved over to the AALU as the executive secretary. And primarily my role is to make sure that we maintain the records of the accurate records of the AALU. And that is important in any organization that you're in, to have kind of a written record of what the business is of the AALU. I have I have a lot of experience in higher ed. I've been in higher ed for over 20 years. I currently serve as a dean in one of the academic divisions at Prince George's Community College. And so I'm very familiar with the ways in which higher ed works. And it is a challenge, but it does require, this position does require that you maintain the records. You take it seriously that you maintain the records of the association. So I credit my part of my recording to the writing proficiency, right? We all took it, or most of us took it. And so it's important to make sure that we have accurate records in our association. And it's a great opportunity actually to get a chance to meet everybody. Like, I've pretty much met every alum that has come through the AALU. I know your name, I know your face, I know your email address probably. So it gives me an opportunity to, connect with alums all the time about one thing or another. I get to see when there's good news for alums. I get to see when there's not so good news for alums, but I make sure that we maintain an accurate record to preserve that for the future leaders that will come before us. So we are leaving, the evidence, really, the receipts, if you will, of what has gone on in our organization. And although it's a time commitment, I think it's a worthwhile time commitment. And you, again, get a chance to meet virtually everybody in the association. So, and that's it.
Thank you, Executive Secretary Terrain. These are our current officers, and on behalf of the nominating committee, I would like to thank all of you for your leadership and service.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pat Jacobs. I'm a proud member of the Nominating and the Election Committee. And our committee consists of 5, according to the bylaws of the Alumni Association of Lincoln University. Our chair is Bonnie M. Bowser, class of 78. Kim Blaney, class of 81. Bon Coleman, class of 89. Renee Mintz, class of 89. Pat Jacobs, myself, and I, class of 09. Welcome. I'm tasked today to give you a quick overview of the responsibilities and duties of the nominating committee. The purpose of the nominating committee is to maintain a sense of integrity, to ensure that we have fair and equal elections, and first and foremost, the nomination. The nominating and election committee duties are as presented. Present to the council and general body in October a slate of candidates for the alumni, trustees, and the elected officers listed in Chapter 3. The nomination from the floor are permitted at October's meeting by providing petitions. The nominees from the floor must meet the eligibility and requirements, Section 3 of Chapter 3. Shall oversee the election. Our primary duty, as I stated, to maintain integrity and fairness, is to present a slate in October meeting. Thank you.
Hi. So my name's Renee. Nobody introduced me, but my name is Renee Mintz. I'm class of '89, also on the Elections and Nominations Committee. You may notice in the chat that different links were being posted. So I've been putting up the website where the same information from this forum is being presented is there, our website, as well as the videos indicating why we lead, what the same people have just presented to us. So very briefly, I'd like to let you know the time limits, the timeline, and who is exactly eligible before we go into our question and answer period if you have questions for us. The time limits of the trustee runs for 4 years. For president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary, that's a 2-year term. Now, who's eligible to submit an application are people who are currently financial members, either at your local chapter or members that are at large since last year, 1 year. And you have to be financial members of the AALU-PA completely, either through your local chapter or a member at large. You cannot be an employee of Lincoln University, and you also must be qualified to be bondable so that you can be on financial accounts. That's for all 4 of the officers there. If you are also interested, you may not hold an office with financial responsibilities in your local chapter. You can't be somebody that's holding a position there. And if you're interested in being the trustee, the alumni trustee, you cannot hold a national office. Again, all of this is presented in the website for you. Our basic timeline, as you saw in the last slide, is that you should have received an email. If not, you should be able to see it on social media soon. And also it's on the website indicating what the positions are, as well as how to apply. The deadline for your application, we're presenting this form now so you can see who the people are, what the positions are, and ask any questions of our panel. The deadline for submitting your application is going to be October the 7th. And then at the at the monthly meeting at the end of October, on October 26th, is when we'll present the slate of candidates. So you apply by the 7th, and on the 26th, we'll have vetted and seen who's eligible, and then ready to present that to the general body. Anybody that wants to hold an office, or rather anybody that wants to vote, must be financial by January 31st. So everybody that's voting has to be financial by January 31st, and then voting will start in February. We'll hold a candidates forum on campus early February 8th to be exact. Then voting starts 2 weeks after that, and by March 15th, voting will end, and then we'll be able to announce our candidates. That's it. Thanks for listening.
So Renee and Patty, I think it's Q&A time. If you guys are going to handle the Q&A, we can spotlight both of you at the same time.
Madam President, sounds like a plan.
Okay, let's go.
If you have any questions, we are serving the chat room. I know Ms. Renee's been in the chat room. Any questions, concerns? Please drop them in. The nominating committee is ready to answer your questions. The leadership team is ready to answer your questions.
Do they have to drop them in the chat or can they raise their hands?
Either or, whichever you feel most comfortable with. You can raise your hand. You can put it, I'm monitoring the chat so that I can read out the questions if you're interested in that, however it is you want to do it.
And then you got the chat, and I'm scrolling through the participants and see if I see any hands raised.
Yeah, I see a
So,
question in the chat, and Vern had a comment.
right. So the question is there a limit of terms that an officer can serve?
So
Leadership,
Renee,
feel free to jump in.
yeah, Renee, your sound cut off. I will share the slide that had that, but as Renee said, we do have a website and all of that. But so I'm going to happily take part of this because not only is the president, the president serves a term of 2 years. The president can only serve two-year terms. So what that means is that this president that you're looking at right now has finished her second or will be finishing her second 2-year term. So we must have a new president. Um, all other officers have a 2-year term. There aren't any, according to our bylaws, term limits on that. So other people can have multiple terms. The alumni trustee is on a different cadence. The alumni trustee is 4-year term, but they are eligible for re-election. In full transparency, we do have 2 alumni trustees positions that are open. Both of them right now are filled by 2 alumni trustees that are in their first term. So they are eligible. We haven't received anything to my knowledge, but they're eligible to run again one time. So under the university bylaws, an alumni trustee can serve a total of 8 years. And when you put that together with the association's bylaws, it would be 2 4-year terms, but they've got to run for re-election in between.
Hi, and another message from the chat, which was more of a comment more than a question. Vernon Davis is here, and he used to serve on the Nominations and Elections Committee. So he just wants to make sure that everybody understands that nominations from the floor are permitted at the October meeting. All of a sudden, it went.
Well, can I
Nominations.
Is my mic open?
Yeah, did you delete what you put?
Well, I mean, I put a comment in the Read AI meeting notes, but I tried to put it into the general chat. My question was, well, the statement is that there's a 10% number that's listed in the bylaws that has to have be filed by the person who's nominated from the floor. What is that 10% number if somebody wanted to be nominated from the floor? It's 10% of the membership is what the bylaws state, but what is that exact number?
So we would need to make sure that we get back to you to communicate that. So we'll communicate that on the website and through social media.
Thank you.
Okay. I will say that that the October meeting is going to be virtual. So that will be quite the cumbersome process, but it is allowed under our bylaws that you can be nominated from the floor with the a petition signed by 10% of the membership. Our membership numbers are going to be it'll go by the financial membership at that time. We still have, every time we turn over to a new fiscal year, we always have people straggling in terms of the annual members. So I don't know if Rita, you have an estimate or a best guess of where we'll be around then. I'm going to guess that we're going to probably be around 800 or so around then. And so it might be approximately like 80 people that would need to sign a petition, but we'll make sure the membership knows the exact number. But I would just, Rita, was that correct, you think?
Yes, that is about correct, but we'll have the exact number by then.
But I would just implore you guys, and I don't know if we clearly said this, but you can nominate another alum. You know, like I could turn around and, like, my sister, I'm gonna pick on my sister, she's on the call. I could be like, I'm nominating my sister to be, you know, whatever position. So you can nominate someone else. I would just implore that you nominate, you know, someone else, or you nominate, or you fill out the application that has been shared by the nominating committee. If we can do all of that in advance of doing it from the floor, it will be much easier. What I have found, and Vernon, you could chime in, is that even when we weren't virtual, it was always very difficult for somebody to truly qualify from the floor.
Yeah, it's really in the applicant's best interest to go through the nominations and elections committee's process, you know, so they understand fully what their responsibilities are to be elected or on the slate. Someone can be nominated from the floor. However, if they don't meet the criteria, they will not be placed onto the slate.
Yeah, so. And it's just been cumbersome to try to get those signatures. You know, one year somebody came close, they tried really hard, but then it was like, what is a signature? Because we're all in different places, you know, but the bylaws don't really allow for that. They don't really talk about virtual signatures, digital signatures, what constitutes, you know, getting that 10% number. I think the bylaws were written when it was contemplated it was going to be ink and a piece of paper.
Sharice, as of today, we have 670 active members.
Okay. So.
Any other questions?
Yes, this is Valerie Whitney, class of 76. My question is, when you talk about being financially active, how does that, if you're paying a life membership and you're paying so much every year, are you considered financially active only once you finish paying that life membership? Or could you nominate someone or run for office while you're in the midst of paying your life membership?
Actually, as long as you're making your annual payments, you are considered financially active.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I would add to that, though, that would be from a nationals perspective. You still are going to need to be also active in your local chapter.
We don't have a chapter here in Florida that I could be a member of.
Okay. Okay.
So I guess the question would be, would she be eligible to run for an office if there is no local chapter in her area?
Right. So we will, you'll probably have to take that up. So we have another category called member member at large, and it was created for that purpose so that people who didn't have a local chapter could be members at large. But we don't have anyone who took advantage of that. So I think that the nominations and elections committee are going to have to discuss how to handle that. But according to our bylaws, unless you're a member at large or a member of a local chapter, you wouldn't be eligible according to the bylaws.
Got it.
I noticed that Trustee Hancock is on the call. Trustee Hancock, did you have any comments that you may want to make about being a trustee? You're on mute. You're still on mute. There you go. You're off.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for hosting this event. This is a first-time event, and it's going pretty good to educate people about the roles of the various positions. I would say that my colleague Tiffany Harrison did a great job at explaining the role of an alumni trustee. I myself, I serve on two committees. I serve on the audit committee as well as the business affairs committee. But prior to that, I was very active and engaged for both at the national level, serving on the finance committee, putting in policies and procedures that were definitely needed for the AALU, and also working on the finance committee as the auditor for DC MEC. I think that it's important that, you know, if you want to serve as a trustee, that you are definitely engaged at both the local level and being engaged at the national level. It is work. There's some time commitments that are required. We meet quarterly. I can tell you that right now I am sitting in Pennsylvania because our board retreat starts tomorrow, and I'll be here until Saturday. So it is a labor of love for Lincoln University, and I am definitely excited to be an alumni trustee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bonnie, can I add to the alumni trustee comments, because we tried to have Rodney Ridley here tonight and he wrote his schedule off, but then he got called into something at the last minute. But Rodney Ridley is another alumni trustee, and he's presently he's the incoming chair of their nominations and Michael, what's the name of the committee? It's Trustee Degrees
It's
and
trustees,
Nominations.
degrees, and nominations.
Okay, so it's basically the counterpart to what Bonnie and Renee and Patty are doing for the university. And then their outgoing chair is Henry Lancaster, who is not an alumni trustee, but he is a member of the Alumni Council. So he's very active in the AALU, and he's also a university trustee. Rodney wanted me to share that we have been working diligently to better align the needs of the university and the timeline of the university with what we are doing here in the AALU. So last year, and Bonnie will know last year, and Vernon knows that we used to do our timeline used to be totally different. We used to, announce our winners at reunion, alumni weekend, right the night before commencement, but we've changed our whole timeline so that we could finish up in March, so that the university can onboard the alumni trustees along with their university trustees at their April board meeting. So that's one change. Another change that is going to be coming is there's going to be, well, actually another change from last year is they did a lot of work with it was Lorella Dix. I don't know if Lorella was registered. I don't know if she's on, but
I think she is.
Okay, so they did a lot of work with her in advance. She came to she's even before she sort of formally joins the board. I know that they interviewed Lorella um, it- once she was declared to be our winner. She was interviewed because one thing to remember is we're having an election for a nomination, but the results of this election is a nomination. It is not a seat on the board. So once the alumni determines through election, who our formal nomination is going to be, the university has the discretion to either seat that person or not approve of the person that we voted in. And nobody want, and historically they don't do that, although they did do that twice. But at the same time, Rodney just wanted to share that they're going to be a little bit more involved in meeting with the potential candidates going forward, and just having a little bit more of a voice to make sure that we, the alumni body, and when we vote for people, we know what the university needs. The university needs certain competencies in terms of leadership competencies, but they also need certain subject matter experts on things. Like they may need someone in communications or someone familiar with audit and oversight or something like that. And those needs change over time. And so they want the opportunity to let us know what their priorities are so that we do a better job of sending them nominees that align with the university need. But we're going to partner with them as we transition to them being a little bit more involved in our process.
Thank you. So the chat question is, are the general meetings ever hybrid? And the answer is yes, they are. They have been hybrid for the last few meetings that we've had. That
Yes.
came from Brianna, class of 16. Thank you, Brianna.
Hi, Brianna. We have adopted a new schedule of having every homecoming meeting. So we typically used to meet homecoming in person. Now what we do is homecoming, we get together, we have fun, we have breakfast, we hear from Dr. Allen, but we have like a fun event at homecoming. And so it's a meet and greet instead of a meeting. We partner with Alumni Relations on that. Then we go to Zoom the last Saturday of the month and we have our business meeting. So that's the new cadence. So it's always going to be on Zoom. I mean, I hope the new president will keep this up because it seems to work pretty well because alumni don't want to come for homecoming and just be sitting in an ALU meeting. So, so that's always. And then our second meeting, because we only meet twice a year, the second meeting is always in person during alumni reunion weekend, but it is hybrid. And the university has partnered with us to pay for professional support so that the hybrid meeting is a good experience for all. And it's really helped with communications. I see Leslie from California on this Zoom right now, but it really allows us to expand our participation.
Thank you. So just looking at the time, we should be closing out soon. Any other questions that anybody might have?
Hi, this is Brianna again. Can I ask one more question? I'm just kind of curious. First of all, I appreciate having this forum. It's really helpful for me as like a young alumni. In terms of the committees, how do people get involved with the committees? I mean, I get that there's only 30 people on the call. We have a lot of alumni, so I just like have ideas of how we could probably get people to join. So like, how do we get involved in that way? Should I just contact somebody offline or?
I don't know why I was being spotlighted. So let me ask you this. Where are you from?
I'm from Maryland, outside the DC area.
Are you part of DC Mac?
Actually, I do need to pay my dues. I will be honest about that. But I have gone to some meetings, and I've gone to some Philadelphia meetings when I was living out there too. But I just see like the low numbers, but I know there's like so much more people. And I know like I said, need to pay my dues, but I just know there's other people who could also, help benefit Lincoln University, whether it's locally or nationally or just entirely. So I just have ideas of how we could probably increase membership. So
Yay. Okay. Well, then,
We welcome that. I mean, yes. So Brianna, I'm in DC Mac as well. We have a meeting coming up. I actually can't go. I have a conflict, but we would love to have you at the meeting. I put the email address to DC Mac in the chat. And then if you would just email myself and the secretary, we will definitely, reply and get you connected up. I would also like to, as Dr. Allen said, we're getting ready for homecoming. So I was on the Zoom today with the Alumni Relations Director, Deborah Johnson, and we are going to have our second year we've done a all alumni tailgating tent. So we're getting that set up. So come on out to homecoming, come to the meet and greet. Oh, here's some news. The meet and greet breakfast is already sold out. So Lincoln sent an email for the breakfast, and I think they have reserved about 80 spots. 80 alums have already replied and said that they're going to be at the breakfast. So they're going to open up some more spots, but just come out, come to the breakfast, come to the tent, come to the meeting, email us, and we would love to have you. It's really needed. In fact, we actually need a young alumni chair right now, because the current young alumni chair is transitioning out because she's like, I'm not so much a young alumni anymore. So yeah, we definitely need support, especially from the younger lions.
Great, I'll email you. I would love
Yeah.
to be more involved as an
Thank
alum,
you.
just trying to find the time. But yes.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna, I see one question got by me. Someone was asking about how do we access the recording of this Zoom in particular?
Okay, so I can answer that again. Let me re-spotlight myself. So we have a pretty good YouTube site. Actually, we don't get a lot of traction, so follow our YouTube. But what I plan to do is to upload this onto our YouTube.
And I put the YouTube link in the chat, but we can also post it on our website and in social media.
Yeah, you're right. We could put the link in the make sure you're a member of the alumni group. We have a group. The group can be kind of hard to find, actually. We're trying to fix that on our website with some updates, but what Renee put the links to all of those videos. If you go to any of those videos, you'll see our YouTube site, and you can just click on it. We'll upload this there, and then always you can go to our website. It's aalupa.org. All of our events are up there. We're actually in the process of making some edits to it, but it's not a bad site right now. I know we're running out of time, but I do want to encourage people to go to our website. This is our website, and you'll see this the executive committee. You see we need to change the upcoming event thing. But the other thing is, if you go to our website and you click on events, you'll see all of the events that we have coming up. So there's a lot of them. So.
Okay, one more question I see here. How much does it cost for the general membership, and how have we been getting the word out to members? Rita, you still here?
Yeah. Yep. General membership is $35. We've actually been emailing, well, I should say, Sharice was sending out a blast to all of our contacts who are in Wild Apricot, but we also encourage local chapters to spread the word, and also during homecoming, and also CIAA.
We haven't raised dues in decades,
Nope.
Dues were
but we have
$35 when I graduated. So
Mhm.
just a FYI.
And there's a lot of pressure to raise dues, but we just want members. So it's only $500 for a life membership, $100 a year. At some point, a president's going to come in and have that as a priority. It wasn't a priority for me. I get it as to why it should happen, but we just really, like Brianna said, actually, we really want to focus on getting more members.
And then another question came asking membership at large, how are we getting the word out about that? And I definitely heard our president say, you know, okay, the nominations and elections committee needs to discuss how to handle that. So Valerie, we will debrief in our individual meeting tomorrow and figure out how to make sure that we get that information out. So that's forthcoming, and it will probably most likely show up on the aalupa.org website for members at large, if that's helpful. And I think that's it. I think that's the last message that came in. Miguel said the meeting was very informative. Thank you, Miguel, for that. If Brianna's still here, just the thing that I would add, so that you don't feel discouraged, is the way that this meeting information went out was it was really for people who were interested in running for the position so that they know what the positions would entail. Because a lot of times people get the links and then they look and see what it is and are like, oh yeah, no, I'm not interested. But like you heard, the information went out about homecoming and come and get breakfast, and 80 people already signed up, and then they need to open it some more. So word of mouth is pretty much the best way that people are getting the information. But I'm so excited, Brianna, that you're trying to bring in the younger group. So I've got your name down in my notes to make sure that I double back with you. But I'm not in Maryland, so we'll just find your class of 16 counterparts.
Yes, I really appreciated this meeting, and you all will hear from me. I will send an email.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bonnie, you want to close us out?
I'm going to close us out, Renee. I want to thank Madam President for her vision to ask us to host this roundtable. I want to thank Renee and Patty for putting this program together. I want to thank the rest of the committee for their support. And I want to thank all of you who found it not robbery to get on for an hour and learn a little more about how to become a leader through our AALUPA. Our next steps, look at the timeline. Information has gone out. We will send out again more information. The application process is due in by October 7th. If you're interested, please, by all means, fill it out. There will be another form that will go out for anyone who wants to nominate someone else, because we don't know all of the alumni. And the fact that you know several alumni that may qualify and be excellent leaders for the AALU, we want to hear about them. So we'll be putting up another application for you to nominate someone of your friends, your fellow alumni, classmates. Spread the word. we are looking forward to having a very diverse slate because we have a good, diverse alumni association and alumni out there in the world. So by all means, complete the application, review the timeline, make sure that when you complete the application, you complete all of the information so that we're able to vet you to make sure that you qualify to run for office. Is there anything else that needs to be said, committee? Hearing nothing, I want to thank everyone and good night.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
thank you, everyone. Good night.
Yes,
Great
you guys
job.
did a great
Night.
job.
Appreciate
Good
you.
night.
Night.
Thanks for